You would not believe how Stephen Colbert and his buddy Jon Stewart responded to his cancellation. Cry me a river. Would you grow up, you children? Put on your big boy pants and take it like a man.
So formerly popular late night TV host Stephen Colbert gets fired, and there's outrage from all the liberal media and all these other talk show hosts that were friends with him over the fact that he no longer has a job. And you feel like in the past, it's normally just like, you do this based off ratings. So I don't know if there's any sort of political motivation. Everyone's trying to blame Trump. We don't know where that's coming from, but Megyn Kelly's like not having it at all. And she's about to go in on Stephen Colbert and even Jon Stewart. But before we get into that, I want to remind you guys to subscribe to RTM News because it ensures to YouTube that you are enjoying our videos. And in turn, they will continually show up in your feed and they'll push it out to more people. I'm Titus. Let's get into this video.
You would not believe how Stephen Colbert and his buddy Jon Stewart responded to his cancellation. Cry me a river. Would you grow up, you children? Put on your big boy pants and take it like a man. This is absurd. Many of us have had very public cancellations, and some were absolutely brutal. And we didn't invite all our friends to come cry on the set and say, poor, poor her, poor him. American democracy will not be the same. Some of us took it like professionals, then picked ourselves up, dusted ourselves off, and moved on with life. Is this how it's going to be for the next year? Watching this crybaby try to play the victim that his show got canceled? Grow up. It's called television, you toddler. Here to discuss it, one of our EJs pair, Emily Jashinsky, host of After Party on the MK Media Podcast Network. Thank God this will never happen to you, Emily Jashinsky, on the MK Media Podcast Network. But I'm sure if it ever did, you would.
We'll get into that. I think it's so funny. I mean, it is true that it's, that's how TV works. Television is like, if there's a lot of eyes on you, they're going to keep you on the screen. If there's a lot of eyes that, if that's dwindling and people don't want to watch you anymore, then this is how it goes. That's show business. It's not even anything. It's not even necessarily a dig at the individual whose show is getting canceled. It's just like, that's business. That's how the money makes the world go around, and they are going, if they're not getting it, they're going to stop. So it is ridiculous to try and blame it on other factors unless those things are provable. And I don't think there's been any sort of evidence to prove that he got fired because of political reasons. I don't think the president is prioritizing getting rid of Stephen Colbert in a show when there's like 12 other or 20 other or a million other liberal publications that promote the same kind of rhetoric that Stephen Colbert does, true or false. So I don't get that.
Take it like an infant in the crib. This is absurd, this man.
Hiring a gospel choir. Did you see Jon Stewart? He hired like a gospel choir to sing behind him and said F you to Donald Trump, or like F off to Donald Trump, because they think the outpouring of Democrats saying thank you to Stephen Colbert for, quote, like standing up to power or speaking truth to power. There were like more than 5 Democratic politicians posting that in unison. Funny how that happens over the last several days. And hilariously, they see themselves genuinely as the like protagonists of this story, as though Stephen Colbert wasn't, according to Puck News, losing $40 million a year. That show was apparently losing $40 million a year, and you can see how the math doesn't math for the I was going to say the Colbert Report, but for the show, because I mean you can't have overhead like an old late night show in 2025. It doesn't make sense when you're getting 3 million people a night. It's an absurd equation, and so to act like this is. No, and to act like this is all because Paramount has a merger in front of Donald Trump, which is true, they do. The Trump administration is looking at the Paramount-Skydance merger, but to act like that's why they pulled the plug on Colbert, it's insane. They're actually getting rid of the entire franchise, not just the host.
Right.
Yeah, they're never going to actually be able to look at things objectively there, because if Trump is even a little bit affiliated with some sort of merger going on, they're going to immediately jump to it is because of that he got fired. So I understand why. I get the I get the connection they're trying to make, but it's like, no, if you're losing $40 million a year, why would you keep that show on the air? That's the more logical, that's the most logical conclusion you can come to is, oh, they're losing $40 million every show, or is it a year, $40 million a year, whatever she said. That's a lot of money. That's a waste of money to sit there and keep a show that if you could replace it with something different. I heard they're taking out the show, I believe. So if they're taking out the show, it's not even a matter of we're firing the host and trying to get a new one. So we're like attacking the host. It's if the show is getting canceled, it's because the show's not profitable.
Wouldn't you just replace the host? And by the way, if Trump were in there bargaining for the summary firing of people on CBS airwaves who are terrible to him and don't like him, there'd be no one left. Literally, who would be left? Norah O'Donnell would have to go entirely. So would that Margaret Brennan. So would Gayle King. I mean, if Trump were in there bargaining for like, these are the people who have to go, Colbert is an antagonist, but is he any worse than these others I've named? Margaret Brennan is out there trying to skewer, ineffectively though, his top administration officials every week. She tried to tank a vice presidential debate in favor of the Dems, as did Norah O'Donnell. So it's like, I don't know, there'd be a lot of targets that I'd probably want to take care of before I got rid of this loser in late night who nobody's watching. By the way, so they say his show caused that it was losing $40 million a year. Can I tell you something? The Kelly file, this is back in 2014 through 17, and they have 100 employees on this thing. For 100 employees, they lose $40 million a year. On the Kelly file, we had 9 producers. That's it. And maybe a handful of tech staff, maybe 5. So let's call it 15, round up. And we made $100 million a year on that show. Just the Kelly file brought in $100 million a year in revenue. This guy has 100 employees. So almost 10 times what I had, and he's losing $40 million. That's what gets you fired, you loser. It's unbelievable that they kept him on the air at all based on this, like as long as they have. And they're like, oh, I was number 1 in late night. Okay, you were number 1 by 1,000. You were beating Jimmy Kimmel in the overall number by 1,000. You were losing in the advertiser key demo from 18 to 49-year-olds to Jimmy Kimmel. Mm-hmm. Jimmy Fallon is no longer on the board. He might no longer be with us for as long as I know, because literally, as Roger Ailes once said about Paula Zahn, you could put a dead raccoon in his chair and get the same ratings that Jimmy Fallon's getting. Okay, but he wasn't number 1 in the key advertiser friendly demo, and irrespective of that, all the numbers had fallen almost 50% just since 2018. No one's watching late night television anymore. It's a failed business model.
Right, and that's why they're getting rid of the whole franchise. So for Colbert and Stewart to slot themselves into these roles as protagonists against the big bad corporate overlord and the Trump administration is just like, it is completely laughable. And for Democrats to do the same is completely laughable. I mean, it's laughable. It's obviously cynical, but at the same time, it's just like, give me a break. They're getting rid of the entire show, not just Colbert. There are all kinds of different people at CBS who are bad, but Colbert is even losing on digital. I mean, he can be the number 1 on late night, even if he's like losing in the demo, but like Fallon does better than him on digital, according to reports. Like he's of all the late night hosts, the one that does most poorly on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and those platforms, which is not surprising at all, because my new theory on why we have all of these like Gen X politicians flocking to Colbert's defense on the left, your Chris Murphy, Hakeem Jeffries, it's because
Elizabeth Warren.
She might be a boomer. I don't know, but boomers count in this too. But Colbert and Stewart remind them of this time period when people felt like they had this moral energy around resistance to the Bush administration, and there was something really edgy about tuning into Comedy Central late night back in like 2009 or 2007. That it just makes them. It's this wave of nostalgia to look like you're standing up and standing by Stephen Colbert and Jon Stewart, who are honestly
you
shells.
Missed it.
They're
it's
shells
like these losers who go out there
anyway.
and like march on Harvard's campus. You missed the civil rights era. Sorry, you weren't around for it. You're cosplaying now. No one's believing you. You're not making any sort of a difference.
It's just crazy how all these nights. I just realized. I mean, I don't ever watch any of these late TV show. I don't even watch any of these late night TV show hosts, but it is crazy. Like that was very popular at a time, and it is so slowly dwindling. The only person that I've really ever seen, if it's a clip on like social media, it's like Jimmy Fallon who's interviewing like the new, like the Summer I Turned Pretty or something cast. The show just came out not too long ago. Like I don't really see him, or if he's interviewing maybe David Cornstalk for Superman. Like I don't really see a lot of TV late night TV show hosts anymore. That's not really as popular as it used to be. So it makes sense. And like she said, that on digitally, like some people of Jimmy Fallon has the most presence as opposed to Stephen Colbert, who's like the weakest. And for the TV, since it's a TV show, if you're doing terribly there and not expanding onto the digital world, then it makes sense why you're doing decently there, but it's all the old, anyways, you get the point. It's very unfortunate for him, obviously, but I don't think it has anything to do with his politics, because there's a lot of people that are spewing nonsense that are still out there. So
Steve Krakauer corrects me. There are 200 employees on Colbert's show. 200. Literally, we had 9 producers to produce the highest rated show in all of cable news in the key advertiser friendly demo, 25 to 54 on cable news with the Kelly file. I had 9 producers. And like I say, just a handful of techs. For $100 million a year, that show netted. This show's losing $40 million a year with 200 employees. It's a loser. What you call that in the kids' talk is a loser. It's a hard loser, and he can't accept it. And like, just one other thing, Jon Stewart. I love to talk about this. Okay, what a pathetic has-been. He had his role during the heyday. He was very relevant for a time. That time has passed, and all of his ratings support my statement, okay? Some of us were able to reinvent ourselves after we left the cable news universe, and some of us weren't. So he came back still thinking he'd be the king of the cool kids, and he's had absolutely middling ratings. Nobody's watching him. And so he decided to bring back some of his old tricks. Believe me, I've been on the receiving end of his little gospel choir. He's done more hit pieces on me than anybody I can think of that has attacked me. Time and time again, when I just had my babies, I'd be nursing them on my couch, and he would drop yet another hit piece on me because I was a threat on Fox News, and he was afraid of me. He didn't want my message getting out there. He wanted to, to diminish me and my shows in their crib. That failed too. Anyway, so there was speculation yesterday in the podcast universe. Bill Simmons had on Matthew Bellany of Puck News, formerly Hollywood Reporter, and they openly wondered whether when Jon Stewart went on the air Monday night, he would quit because he was so outraged over the deep wrong that had been done to his good friend Stephen Colbert, clearly fired over politics. And so there was some anticipation. They both said they were going to watch Stewart live that night to see whether he would quit and make a point that this was deeply immoral, so much so that he would sacrifice the millions and the fame, air quotes, that he's getting from his reappearance on Mondays on The Daily Show. And instead, this is what we got.
This ain't the time to shrink.
Not the time.
This is the time to fight.
Time to fight.
This is the time to rise up. You're afraid, and you protect your bottom line. I've got but one thing to say. Just one little phrase.
You tell them.
Go yourself. Yourself. Just go yourself. Everybody.
So it was a no. He did not forego his millions of dollars or his ridiculous do-nothing post on The Daily Show. Instead, he chose himself, and he chose to go with a profanity-laced rant against the company that owns Comedy Central, Paramount, with whom this merger has happened. They also own CBS. And this came as no surprise to me because he's always been all about himself. However, I did not expect that he would really kind of embrace the same mistakes Oprah Winfrey has embraced that have made her an official has-been too.
She does not play when it comes to these people. She obviously has a personal vendetta against this man as well because he has talked a lot of crap about her. They're in a little feud, a little beef, and that's fine. Yeah. Does this sound a little weird that Trump has something to do with this merger thing and then he also got fired? I guess, but when you think about the amount of money that they were losing, it's like, okay, well, that's probably the main reason. And maybe it's just an unfortunate coincidence. I think people are dragging it too hard. I mean, if Jon Stewart's just sticking up for his friend or like looking out for a friend or like defending, whatever he's doing, defending his friend, like that's his business. You look stupid doing it. Some people might think it's funny, some people don't. It's just, you look like a fool, in my opinion. So it's just like, I do you, right? That's fine. But like, you should just try the Megyn Kelly approach. Try the people that have, I mean, I wouldn't say Don Lemon approach because it didn't really work out for him. Chris Cuomo, or if you say his name, they all reinvented themselves in some way or another. None of them really like Megyn Kelly. And just, if you want to be relevant, want to continue to do, what you love, find a way to do it going forward, Stephen Colbert. But to sit there and play the blame game is not going to get you anywhere. And I don't know, you can't prove that that is why. And I think anyone going one way or the other super strongly without having all the knowledge on what is going on and following the facts that are presented to us, it's like, you're just dragging it and being bitter and biased towards the side that you're on. So anyways, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to comment down your thoughts below. I want to know what you guys are thinking on this, and I can't wait to see you on the next one. Peace.